must feel good to have her back in the sky again.
You have no idea.
You having any trouble breathing up here, Lev? Of course. Right now would be a perfect time to get a wink or two in.
Stop talking.
Dreams drift in and out of our conscious realms, dancing, blending, fusing themselves to memory until we can no longer ascertain what is real from fabrication. Celestial doors may open to reveal sights of awe, but forebode a dreadful fate for our planet on the brink. From JetFalco and DreamersEcho.com, this is Mondrea Memories, the Dreamers Echo podcast. Stay tuned after the memory to hear a special message from the creator of our show, as well as a bonus scene. This memory features mature themes not suitable for younger ears. Listener discretion is advised. Memory 4, Vura's Rage, Enlightened Dark.
So what exactly was Stage 1 back there? I could tell mentioning our little act of resistance near the fueling platform 8-D90 would make her a little uneasy. Nothing she couldn't handle. I had hoped our newfound working relationship had at least reached a point where she was comfortable speaking of such things, of elements from her past.
The ladies of the quail feather and I, we go way back. Maybe a bit too far back. It's nothing.
I could have said something, anything, to reassure she had a comforting ear to rely on to tell these tales. Instead, I gave her the comfort of my silence, which was quickly drowned out by the separate comfort of the humming engine in back, now fully capable of departing the sea. Much like uncovering the ancient Mondreans' lost histories, I would need to be patient. Let her come out and speak on her own time, her own terms. Every ancient artifact I've ever found, I procured with utmost care. I must do the same with her words. It was clear through her rigid pilot stance and hushed poise. If she needed me to respond, she would ask.
Have you ever heard of it? The ship?
Through all my years of research, I was surprised to learn tonight that air freighters could be used for other things besides hauling freight.
Ship like that's been in the biz for who knows how long. Was a family-run business going back at least 3 gens. Confine inherited it through his father 20 years ago. He's retained ownership and full management ever since.
Until last night.
I don't know if you've noticed, but a few of those gals are older. My mother was one of the originals, stolen from her family when she was a young teen, forced to do unspeakable things. I was born there. She had me in one of those fancy private rooms. I still don't know with who my dad could be. God, I hope it wasn't that lousy piece of scum, Hugh. To think that sorry excuse for a man could be my father. I might vomit more than you did.
Her sarcasm never hit a sour note as sour as my taste buds were down on the waves.
But that never got me down. They let my mother raise me on the feather, so long as it didn't interfere with Q's regular business hours. Other than the fact that I never had a home on the ground or friends my own age, my childhood was pretty normal, if you can call playing kickball 2,000 feet above sea level with a bunch of working ladies normal. I still got typical schooling kids on the ground would get, but I had a nice view of old Mama Mondrea herself. Hell, the girls even put together a faux school dance when I hit 18. Even hired one of the ladies to play the part of a handsome boy who had given me my first slow dance.
Amazing how she can tell such a story and still pilot the owl with ease.
Alexo was his name. It fit. I mean, it fit Auntie Alexa well enough. It was baffling how much effort all these girls put into making me have somewhat of a normal life up there. And it all felt pretty normal. I had friends. I had a family. It just worked, and it was as normal as it got. Growing up as some kind of brothel baby. Until I witnessed Q throw my mother off the side of the ship. He thought no one was around.
What in the...
But I saw it. I saw the whole damn thing. It was just after my 18th. My mother was slowly embezzling money, had her own trickle fund built into the floor panels behind her cot. She wanted to raise enough money to send me to a proper academy and get a proper occupation. Q found out. First, to find out about me being born all those years ago on his ship. Then, to find out Maud been schooling me for years, in secret. Everything she could get, accepting Staylon Academy textbooks for payment, just to make sure I don't turn out like the rest of them. I learned what I could outside the cringy shipworthy schooling he believed I should get. He thought of me as some sort of experiment. Maybe a girl growing up in this world would know it best and not want for a life outside. It was the only way he'd allow me to live on that business. He wanted me to be the centerpiece of his collection once I was of age. And he wanted the money, obviously. But I knew about it and got to it before he could. Except I didn't hide it. I dispersed it amongst the girls little by little, only when we were at port, so they could each spend it immediately out of Q's sight. A little on nice fur coats or leg wraps, maybe a bit on the hidden knife they could keep behind their headboards. Even a little for a quick combat lesson from some off-duty Fenellian troops.
You were preparing.
Stage 1. Removal. The extraction of the man who kept this whole business running by any means necessary. I've grown up around the way he treats those girls. I was small. I fit in all the hidden vents and crawl spaces. I saw everything behind closed doors that a child should never have to see. It was clear. They wanted out. Mondrea may not have much waiting for a woman like that, but it did offer one thing.
Freedom. A treasure most valuable.
The next few stages are up to them. I gave them an outline of the steps, but hell, I left it as a simple suggestion. The ship is theirs. They could sell it, use the money to start up something a bit healthier, but I have a feeling they'll keep it. It's home. I laid out 2 paths for them. The steps should be clear, depending on what they choose.
I don't think that's the last we'll see of the Quail Feather.
Unless they name the ship something else.
Of course. Speaking of ships, yours is really sailing.
She is something special, ain't she? You think being up this high has finally dropped our tail? Maybe we should shake our fins a bit. You don't get airsick as well, do you?
You're the pilot. Fly on, Miss Renaud.
Levi?
What the hell do you want?
Diving and rolling. Just hold on.
Ms. Renaud knows her ship. She knows just the right angle to tip the nose downward to achieve maximum velocity in a matter of seconds. She knows just the right tilt to add to the wings, to evolve us all into a graceful swirl of sheet metal, bronze pipe, and wood. I don't think I've ever gone from 2,400 feet above sea level to 400 feet below sea level in less than 10 seconds before. I first wondered about the make and model of such a prime vessel, but I had no doubt. This was her creation, her build. Possibly built in tandem with the master shipbuilders and racers just outside Luffy Cape, the capital of the Staylon Nation. Nevertheless, she created a ship that only she knows how to fly. And she knows how to fly it well.
Levi!
It wasn't long before we reached the northern shore of the Mondrean Sea. This enormous landlocked body of water, save for a few rivers that empty out into the northeastern oceans, spanned west to east and back from Finalia to Staylon. Border to border, it was the definitive international water. The way it thrashed below, I don't think any one power could ever control it. Instead, it remains as our planet's one shared grounds, as ironic as that sounds. If only our peoples thought the same for our resources. Resources. Mondrean conflict. War. This short train of thought that docked at the station and reminded me of my first duty as the new General of Thanalia. I was to return at this time, dusk of the day of appointment, to deliver my 30-day plan to King Brontley. A simple setup of battle preparations and training proposals would have done the job and cemented my position at his right hand, leading our great nation to the final victory it deserves and full control of Mondrea and its remaining Lunaeanite Zrokvain. But we both knew that was not to happen.
You've got an in with King Brontley, haven't you?
I remember this thought as clear as the night sky blazed in fire and human ash just an hour before. I would not make it back, but the plan is general. I would not address my legions before we dove headfirst in what would have been the most grueling month of training a soldier could ever experience. I was to fail my first duties as general, gone AWOL the same day as he is assigned. But the king knew this. His eyes are slowly opening to the true resolution of this pointless war, as are mine. We have both been jolted awake from this lie. There exists a true solution, and I'm going to find it. As for my position as general, the king will no doubt follow protocol, and if I don't reassume my position with plans in hand after 1 week, the next able candidate will take on the role. Though with such an intimidating deadline approaching, I have no doubt that will be expedited with glee. I, for one, welcome General Evela Torshan's leadership to our nation's unfathomable armed forces. She will enjoy filling that seat of power, albeit temporarily.
Vura's Rage, our last pit stop. Promise. Then it's straight to Dead Ark.
What? Why here? It's a massive waterfall. There's nowhere to go.
Oh, ye of little faith.
The northern edge of the sea was lined with smooth cliff sides. Harsh desert climates and ferocious tide changes caused sea levels to drastically drop over the last few decades. What few streams and tributaries that remain in the northern country all merge at one raging waterfall nearly a mile wide. The last of the polar ice continues to sacrifice itself to the darkness below.
But where? Should we land above or anchor below?
As if we had enough time to discuss such a thing as the falls grew larger and closer.
Through.
Before I could hold my breath, she pulled in the retractable wings and the deafening falls eclipsed the entire panoramic view of the ship front. We were throwing a glass bottle through a compactor. What could have been several hundred meters of drop came crashing down around us as we stormed through this impassable torrential gate to hell. Immense gushing pressure nearly caved in the ceiling, but Ms. Renauld knows her ship. Only a ship fast and sleek enough to slip through the waters and powerful enough to stay her hull could ever make it through Vura's pummeling fists. And only a ship with sharp, responsive braking power, or perhaps an equivalent, even more violent reverse thruster, could ever survive the sudden stop before the inner cavern's wall obliterated us.
Hold!
The falls continued to deafen behind. It must have been less than 75 feet of room, but sure enough, Ms. Renauld knew her ship. The Jade Owl halted mere centimeters before its downturned nose grazed the wall of massive stalagmite and stalactite before us. I didn't even notice her activate the reverse thrust and braking panels as she soon deactivated them and engaged a safe landing on a slightly sloping edge to our right.
Your skill never ceases to amaze, Miss Renauld.
I don't go through Vura more than I need to, Mr. Lennox.
She killed the engines and her ship jostled a bit as the gravity reclaimed it through the landing gear. The uneven ground shifted a bit, but we remained mostly still, not giving in to the downward drain below. Rising from her seat, she punched a panel below the right dash, and a hidden compartment dropped, revealing a black and silver canister wrapped in an oil-stained rag, and she clipped it to a loop on her back behind her cloak. I assumed whatever was inside would serve as a bargaining chip to whoever we were to meet next. As we exited toward the western wall, turned, ascending to the north, I noticed our landing pad, a mountain of sediment, a slowly slipping graveyard of ship parts forming an incline that somewhat held the Owl in place. For now.
Seems plenty of pilots have attempted the breach.
And their halt was a bit more sudden.
Am I wrong to assume we're to make it below Dead Arc Trench in this ship?
She gave her old bird one last gentle loving tap on its freshly battered metal feathers.
This way, General.
Wait! Wait!
We stopped at the opening of the tunnel and took cover behind the wall.
Are you freaking shitting me? You two survived the impassable death of Vura Falls?
It seems our followers are much more stalwart than originally thought.
Hey, General Lennox, sir, and ma'am, you have to help.
Help?
Ms. Renauld shrugged her shoulders and her face.
Are you armed?
No. Please, I have no weapons.
I could see the figure behind the ship, obscured by the gleaming waters and tenacious sound flooding the cavern. A few clattering pieces rolled down the hill into the pool below as the man placed another man on the shifty ground beside the defeated owl.
How the hell are you still alive? And here? No one could have survived my flying.
Well, we nearly did it. You have to come help. It's bars.
She let out an exasperated sigh of disdain and led as we descended the hill of trash back down to the makeshift ship platform. She quick-loaded a light pistol from behind her shoulders with speed that would make the most seasoned Mondrean war veterans chuckle in cowardice. I wasn't even aware she had this firearm on her person. Perhaps it was holstered behind her thick, curly locks, maybe fastened behind some of her lower face bandages. It was mind-boggling to think how much more of an arsenal she had hidden throughout. She held the small gun in her outstretched right arm. It clicked in response, and her dagger was already in her left, as if ready for any close-quarters combat as we neared the desperate man.
Damn royal spy, name and rank, Fenellian, or perish beside your crony.
Lieutenant Victor Levinson Thatch of the Fenellian Royal Guard, ma'am. Codename Levi, for short, I guess. I mean, that's what Boris calls me.
The wind and water left its mark on this poor soul. Left him naught but rattles in that voice.
And your friend?
Boris on Z-Flick. Goes by Boris. Same brigade, same rank. He's fading fast. You have to help him.
Evie sent you.
Yes, of course.
To keep tabs on me.
Right, sir.
During my first few days as general.
Regular old gumshoe, this one.
He was shaking hard, barely making eye contact. Shame.
What does she think she'll accomplish sending spies to watch me?
You know something. She doesn't.
The body on the ground spoke with no movement as we approached the two vagrant soldiers.
What does she think I know?
The dying man was eager to respond. This Lieutenant Thatch tried to keep him from speaking, but his attempts, the deafening waterfall, the intermittent racket from the slope of rusted metal, all of it faded as we focused on what could be this man's last words.
You know something she doesn't know. You stole General from her. She needs to know your influence over King. What made King King giving you opportunity.
I hadn't noticed that my gloved hand was deep in my coat pocket, a clutching vice grip on the shard of moonlit rock, as if it held all the answers. This man's eyes rolled back into his head as he let go.
He's barely breathing. He's gonna... Damn it, Boris, wake up!
He held on during flight, but unlike you, his eyes, ears, and nose were open.
I tried to tell him the air and the water would bash him in, make him a veg. but he's a damn child.
Ms. Renauld pulled me aside and shared some valuable information that would give me the leverage I needed over Avela's foolish minions. You've seen this before, haven't you? In any of your travels?
Simple case of IDS. Entered his first shift syndrome. His innards are sloshed, brains all rattled about. Pretty much a concussion to your head, body, and soul. Try to imagine the seasick you back then, and then yo-yoed into the sun, and then back down again underwater a few hundred times. You'd be torn apart.
I'm familiar. I've suffered from it before.
Have you now? Now that's a story you'll have to share.
A more appropriate time, perhaps.
Listen, I don't have the proper meds for this on me, but just past the caves where we're headed does. I don't know if you've ever had to deal with the royal spies such as these, but in my days on the sea, I found it to be quite advantageous.
You suggest we manipulate these two men into working for us? She simply smirked and returned to interrogating the pair. My grip on the sharp object in my pocket only tightened. I was unaware if its protruding edges were digging into the leather glove, nearly piercing the outer layers of skin, and the object's temperature itself was getting warmer.
All right, Lieutenant, listen up.
I believe I can handle this one, Ms. Renauld, if you please.
Oh, fine, General. I've got some pointers if you need them. Just holler.
She stepped back, glad to oblige, keen to see how the new general would handle this situation. Victor Levinson Thatch of the Phenalian Royal Guard. As your commanding officer, I...
Come now, Donna. You know those silly rigs won't hold here. You're in the Darklands now. Pirates and scoundrels abound. What you got?
It is your duty to uphold Phenalian rule and regulation, no matter the land or circumstance.
Okay. Keep your flexing, if you think it'll work.
Shush. And the holiest of Phenalian law, behind even the hand of King himself, is...
True Phenalia. Of course, sir. We know the drill.
Yes.
Okay. Getting a bit colty, are we? I suppose that's one way.
The fully realized Mondrean nation. A single power surviving under the blazing sun. Phenalius Eternus. I've heard it spoken in the King's word. I never would have doubted our true goal. General Lennox. But Captain Avela Torsion believes she is the rightful heir to the general's seat. She has the experience, the knowledge, the prowess to lead our forces to true Phenalia.
I stared at this cowering gimp of a man for as long as I could, before I realized the rock in my pocket had become a dagger near his throat. True Phenalia is a damned lie. True Mondrea is a farce, a charade. All of it is a charade. There is no true city, true nation that should ever believe its true inheritance is the soul of the planet itself. I have felt it. Mondrea cried out to me in my sleep. Its soul was stolen long ago, ripped out, unearthed, ravaged like a tree uprooted from the deepest soil bed, and what remained is oblivion. The shouting falls behind the lieutenants retained its steady hum. The crumbling ground eroded away to a smooth black. The darkness abode as the gleaming moonlight through the water all but faded, leaving a single spotlight which illuminated the rock in my hand, its warm light fizzing through the word and stoic motion. Let me ask you, Levi, where do you go when you sleep?
What the... I
Where
don't understand.
do you go?
My bed?
And what do you see?
Nothing.
What do you see?
Nothing.
This world? This world is a prison. Our true inheritance faded away 1,000 years ago, and the demon that stole it banished it and us to the dark.
Where are you going with this?
I seek to give the people of Mondrea the light it needs. I do not seek to lead them through the darkness to a destination. No. There is a clearer path here available to them through me, through my actions. Actions your captain could never commit. I will open their eyes to look past the veil.
The veil. The darkness.
Ms. Renaud here believes she knows a doctor behind these tunnels who can heal your friend of his sickness.
It's rude to point, Dono.
Beyond the tunnels, he'll never make it.
Exactly. I was given the first opportunity to pierce the veil of darkness and see what was beyond our earthly dirt prison.
Careful swinging that thing around, man.
I saw what humanity was capable of. The banishment, punishment, pain, darkness. And I yearned to see more of what humanity could be capable of. Freedom, healing, light. I feel it every time I grasp this key to reopening the door that I must pass through.
Oh, shit.
I will take this opportunity. I will heal your friend now. I only ask that you find the opportunity to follow out of the shadow and into blazing dawn of dream. I placed the bare rocky spear tip upon Varus's forehead between his swollen red eyelids on his bruised brow. The room was drowning in its sudden glow of deep red, but only Varus and I could see it. I granted him this simple glimpse. A blink of an eye to a man can reveal so much. It dug slightly into his skin, and a thin trail of blood trickled down his nose and through his lips. His body writhed about. 1 second would seem painful, the next fraught with pleasure. Laughs crowded cries. Shouts complemented whimpers. It was clear to those observing this was no healing, no medicine, no cure, no exorcism to drive out the devils of sickness from this man. This was an awakening. The sharp piece of what others believed to be Zrok glowed and hummed for a few seconds and seemed to be the only thing in this mess of a room, this operating table, this doorway. The glow and hum lasted for a few more seconds but would reside, and I placed it back into my pocket and realized my left glove had completely burned off. No matter, this man was awake.
Varus!
I didn't know Moonrock could do that.
This is no mere rock. It is the key that unlocked his mind.
You're alive!
I'm fine.
Aside from the dried blood trails from his new forehead scar, his ears and nostrils, he looked almost new. He stared at his hands for a moment, cupped both of them gently against his eyes, and exhaled whatever was left of that dreadful nightmare plaguing his condition before glancing up at me in what appeared to be reverence.
Donovan Lennox, you have my thanks for this opportunity. My champion of illumination, may you lead us to that blazing dawn.
Varus? Lennox, what did you do?
Were we not Victor Levinson Thatch?
Levi. We call him that. Creepy smile.
Levi, of course.
Lennox, you've changed him.
General Lennox has simply cleared my vision. I see it now.
See what?
That which will unite our people and restore this vanquished world. The dream.
What the hell?
You two work for me now. In any rank, land, or circumstance, I am your true leader. Your opportunity awakens. Now follow. The four of us departed the shifting pool cavern behind the Vura waterfall to delve deeper into the tunnels beyond.
You're listening to Mondrea Memories.
Binary Star, the grungy cyberpunk comic saga returns with Volume 2 on Kickstarter. This gothic space opera follows hot-tempered axe-wielding Zaki as she tracks down Spooky, an enigmatic alien on the run. To recapture her elusive bounty, she'll need the frenemies she's found along the way. Talking dog people hell-bent on revenge, galactic club-hopping mercs, and sharp-tongued otherworldly beings. A violent, glittery star-crossed quest. Unravel the mystery behind the shadowy organizations who need her target for their own malicious cause. Support the printing of both beautifully hand-drawn volumes August 11th and make this cosmic opus a reality. Early bird rewards will go fast, so capture this killer Kickstarter comic. Binary Star, Volume 2, Cold to the Touch. And the second edition hardcover Volume 1, The Big Cosmic Joke. Starting August 11th on Kickstarter.com. Binary Star. Hunter becomes hunted in the lawless cosmos.
This is Mondrea Memories.
It was a rough 10-minute walk through the damp cave corridor. Bits of light shone through the cracks and bounced through the bioluminescent algae on the walls. Subtle tones of green and teal lit our faces and urged on Levi's need to speak up and sporadically inquire more about their new assignment. More so, the condition of his cohort, and exactly what I did to him. To be entirely honest, the methods used by the spear tip's edge and the enigma within were not fully known, even to me, the primary wielder at the time. It only glows when it wishes to, and when it does, its connection to unknown energies seem to be a lot stronger when opportunities of a special nature present themselves. And even then, I was unsure of what exactly it did, what it showed those fortunate to make contact with it. The beguiling sense of freedom or control it gave them, and the aftereffects of such an ancient, mysterious device seemed to vary across the board. All I know is what it showed me. What it showed Lieutenant Barasanzi Flick, however, left him in a state of semi-enlightenment. I didn't know much of who he was before tonight, but now he seemed clear. Clearer than a human should be. A man unobstructed, unblocked, and unbound. Part of me wondered if that would be enough to convince him and his friend to stop reporting intel back to their former leader. The other part of me was sure it was just enough.
How much further, if you don't mind me asking?
We're here.
The dripping walls of rock converged at a dead end.
Hey, bare ass. Boris, you're the only dry one here for some reason. Turn about, would ya?
My liege, shall I?
Do as she says, Lieutenant. Renaud pulled a dry match from her waist and struck it against the back of the wispy lieutenant's scalp.
Weird. Don't you sweat anymore?
There is no need.
The hell'd you do to this guy?
She held up the match against different spots on the wall, hovering alongside as if she was searching for something to ignite. As she approached the left, the match was suddenly extinguished. She stroked another one up, this time from the man's forehead, at the slight disdain of his fellow officer, and she hovered the match just above the same spot, and within seconds the match went out again.
This is the place, friends. Single file, behind me.
We did just as our tour guide instructed. Renaud stood before the cave wall, followed by me, Boris, and then Levi.
Stay close.
She placed her left hand against the hidden jet stream of air that put out the two matches, and she pressed. Except there was nothing to press into, nothing to press against. Instead, her hand passed through what appeared to be a section of false wall of some sort.
Huh, incredible. I've only heard rumors that such a technology exists. Like an image projection of sorts.
The kind of stuff they got behind this door will set any rumor mill aflame. Wait, I thought you royal types used this sort of stuff all over the Fenalian Palace.
I suppose I was to learn about some of it should I had stayed behind and assumed proper general duties.
And miss out on all this adventure?
She turned her wrist and a slight click indicated the end was no longer dead. A stark beam of light filled the dark tunnel and further lit the slimy walls behind us.
Except the trick with these doors? Someone's gotta stay behind and hold it for a bit.
Pressure levers, allowing for auto-seal once we're through. Intricate.
Very intricate indeed. Now slide through, one by one. I'll shove over.
She did just that, allowing passage for each one of us, but with barely 2 inches of clearance on either side as our bodies moved through the gap parallel to the wall.
Get any closer and I'll have to start charging you, should.
My apologies, Miss Renauld.
Her breath was still as sweetly stale as it was back in town.
You two darlings face the other direction, if you please.
Right.
Of course.
As I made it through, I turned back and watched her give a thorough visual pat-down to our 2 new recruits. She moved quickly after releasing the switch before the 2 heavy panels sealed behind her. Then she rejoined me as the 2 former spies stared up in amazement at our new location, a large, abandoned, man-made dock built of steel and stone that seemed to open straight down into the infinite depth below. Highly reminiscent of Dead Ark, I'm sure.
They weren't lying. Unarmed, the both of them. Well, save for this. But I don't think you could call this a weapon, can you?
How did you?
She had the glowing rock dagger in her gloved hand. It was no longer safely in my coat pocket. I had no idea how it was taken from my possession. Perhaps she pickpocketed me when we were passing through the tight doorway. Maybe one of the other men managed to steal it while walking behind me previously, when the cave hallways got tighter.
You know, you should really pay more attention to who you bring close, Dawn. Might lose something of magnificent value.
Miss Renauld, please, hand me the artifact.
Now, it weren't me who nabbed your trinket. Moon-eyed Creepsmile had it in his back pocket. You should be thanking me.
Thanking you? Who's to say you didn't take it off me? Per our agreement, your pay.
Ah, yes, but who's to say this won't fetch me a high ticket to the Sky Palace as a fair mend?
Your payment will come soon, I assure you. Leave me the tools I need, and I'll leave you to yours.
With a quick wrist flick and some shifty fingers, it moved like wind from one hand to another, and then back again. Then she fanned out her fingers, threw them back behind her curly hair, and when they returned, there was the shard. But it was cleft in 2. 2 halves, one red, one blue. I do not know if she saw the glow as I did. My eyes glazed over in a bewildered anger. She seemed to enjoy this, teasing me. She clapped them together in a quick snap and told me it was back in my coat pocket.
I'll ask you once, in politeness, to refrain from using your tricks on me, Miss.
I jest, you old boy. Don't misunderstand me. I have an idea you might be into.
My hand couldn't help itself but check. It was there. Perhaps it was there the entire time. Damn it. My grip transferred itself from within my inner coat pocket to a deeper seat right before my face, holding it like a knife, with my grip only tightening the more she spoke, serving as a reminder that I couldn't believe I put so much trust in a bounty hunter fluent in parlor magic, of all things.
Idea. You've no idea what this thing is capable of.
You're right, I don't.
She quickly placed her gloved hand on the visible end of this ancient blade.
What say we tap all our foreheads and drink the juice Moon Boy's drinking? Let's all reach that true finale and enlightenment dreamy weemy state, eh? Sound fun, ain't it?
No, Miss.
We glanced over at Boris, who was still looking around the dark entrance with Levi, the 2 of them bewildered at the fact such a large secret dock existed down here.
No, Miss Hazel, please, release the shard.
I saw her hesitation. Her grip was tightening as well.
You sure you don't want to hear what I have to say about this thing?
This thing is far too powerful for any experiments a bounty hunter could concoct. Now, please.
Have it your way.
When she finally let go, I wrapped it up in a handkerchief and placed it deeper in the most concealed pocket this old duster could afford.
Just keep it close then, eh? If any one of us could take it off you so easily, who's to say where it might end up next? Could be at the bottom of this well, lost in a dump, or...
Buried deep in the back of the next person who tries to take it.
You sure you don't want to hear what I've got in mind?
I walked away from our fearless pickpocket hunter and approached Boris. Levi took a healthy step back when he felt the heaviness of my own. Opportune ones. Ms. Renaud here believes there is a sense of mistrust amongst our group. I suggest we all keep our hands and eyes to ourselves during this expedition. Understood?
Of course, my champion.
Yes, sir. But where exactly are we going, General?
I couldn't believe what Ms. Renaud had said about the two of them. They seemed much too aloof or lacking in a thief's way to even consider taking the shard from me. I turned our full attention to our guide. We will continue to follow Ms. Renaud, but might I suggest a more substantial space buffer between us all? And Lieutenant Boris,
My liege,
as your first assignment, I simply request that you take on the mantle of my proper bodyguard. Keep your eyes and ears and entire self attuned to my position and safety at all times. Should anyone threaten me or my personal effects or my health, you are to report immediately and react in my defense. Is that clear?
if that is your wish, I shall.
Our guide simply scoffed in amazement and turned our stairs to the dock and the deep drop into the cave well below, which was a much larger, vertical tunnel lined with steel walls and dim mining lighting throughout. She surely spoke loud enough any nearby guards would have apprehended us long ago, but as far as I can see, there were none. This place was empty and happy to have a few echoes run its chamber.
Right. Look, this place isn't really expecting us, so the next leap will require a bit more faith, if you get me.
Wait, you don't expect us
We
to
must fall.
down there? Into that impending demise?
Even I could feel the uneasy wavering of our trust in this woman. She quickly removed her boots and cloak, and all of her concealed items were bundled up within a ball of canvas, leather, and cloth. I was perplexed at how that would make falling to your death a bit more pleasant. Less of a mess, perhaps? If that's the next step. Ladies first.
Wow. Chivalry or fear? Can't tell.
With her signature concealed behind face bandages wink and a casual two-finger salute, she leapt back first, arms outstretched into the steely echoing depths, and within milliseconds vanished into the darkness below.
I will go next, my lord, if you'll allow.
I agreed, of course, but the tone of Boris's voice brought more excitement to the venture than precaution, as if he was eager to throw his life down in case a bottomless pit or death trap wait for us below. Anticipation of the rush or free fall, perhaps, and not the "I'll make sure it's safe first, my highness" attitude. Sure enough, his body was claimed by the darkness below, soon followed by a reluctant Levi.
Sir?
Dono, the look on your face right now.
Please, don't hesitate, my lord. It is safe.
Their voices, they didn't sound far, down, or dead at all. How is this possible? It sounds like they're not more than a few arms lengths away. Another illusion. I gripped my soul for dear Severance and prepared for the end of existence itself as I took a large stride towards the door. My foot didn't reach ground, but about 15 feet or so in front, I did find my body in a free fall, but not into utter oblivion. No death trap awaited me below, but a cool, wide, clean pool of glowing blue water, presumably lit by some underwater lighting system. Astonishing. Soaked in a grimy old man's coat, I arose and caught my breath on the surface. The two men were treading water in front of me, whilst Renaud, obviously versed in the illusions of this funhouse, looked as if she didn't have a drop on her. She stood at the top of the steps exiting the waters and greeted us at the gate of this grand underground facility.
Welcome, my boys, to Voltura.
This is Mondrea Memories, the DreamersEcho podcast. Keep listening for a special message from the creator of the show, as well as a bonus memory. For a full cast and crew list, please visit DreamersEcho.com/podcast. Stay awake.
Hey everyone, JetFalco here. Thank you for listening. And thank you to the wonderful people who have joined the show in support of the production. Your pledge on Patreon ensures this show has a secure future and memories can keep playing. For a limited time, in addition to bonus merch, comics, music, early access, and more, Patreon members will receive an exclusive Mondrea Memories holographic sticker. Only about 100 of these are made and they're not going to last for long, so visit DreamersEcho.com and click the Patreon link to learn more. Members will also gain access to a new Mondrea Memories story, the Encyclopedia Mondrenica, an in-depth look into the known lands and the reclaimed histories of this mysterious world, as narrated by various interesting characters found within. This bonus show will not be available on streaming apps, so join our Patreon and see beyond what this realm reveals. More exciting news is on the way, but for now, please enjoy this quick bonus memory. See you next time.
It is with great honor and high esteem that I conscript into command your new Grand Finalian General, Ivela Torshon.
And it is with great honor I accept, my liege. Glory to Finalia.
Glory to Mondrea.
Copyright 2020, DreamersEcho.com.
Creative Commons Attribution License Non-Commercial No Derivatives.
Spooky.